Dana Harris here once again, and I'm trying to make math cool again. So we're continuing to talk about the Common Core curriculum and third grade fractions, okay? A lot of people don't like fractions, but I'm trying to do my best to make it simpler for you. So we're continuing on from the standard 3 NFA 3, and this is the second part of it. I know those numbers don't mean nothing to you. That's educator talk, but just to let you know, I kind of know a little bit about what I'm talking about. So we're going to talk about equivalent fractions. And equivalent fractions, the root word is equal. So we're talking about fractions that look different, but they have the same value. So the example I always tell my students in class is like, hey, I had a bushy beard. It was like way down here and all that stuff. Cut it off. Different look, same person, same wise guy. Here we go. So equivalent fractions. So let's start by doing the visual representation of them. So if I do not want to use red, I want to use black because I'm going to color them. So if I have this rectangle, and I'm going to draw another one just in case so you can see the comparison, okay? And we're going to pretend these rectangles are the exact same size. And we're going to break them into 8 pieces, okay? So we have this rectangle. We're going to break it into 8 pieces. And once again, this stuff is not drawn to scale, but you kind of get my drift. So this is one whole, this is one whole. I have 1/8, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8. So I have 8 pieces to this whole, 8 pieces to this whole, okay? So now, what I want to do is we're going to break this down into a fraction. Remember, if I shade in 4 1/8 pieces, I get 4/8, okay? So, here, all right, so I have 4 out of 8 shaded in, and actually I'm going to change this example right in the middle of doing it, okay? So I'm going to actually take this one, and I'm going to erase those pieces right there. I don't want this to be 8 pieces here. I want it only to be 2 pieces so that you can see that they take up the same amount of space. Now, notice I have up here, each one is 1/8. So just so you can see, 1/8, 1/8, 1/8. And of course the red pieces are 1/8 as well. But now here, so here I have 4/8 total in red, okay? So 8 total pieces, 4 parts that are each 1/8 size. Here I only have 2 total parts, okay? But I'm going to shade in 1 out of the 2. Notice I have 2 total parts, 1 piece, or I'm sorry, 2 total pieces and 1 part of the 2 shaded in. Notice that the same amount shaded in black is shaded in red. The only difference is these are 4 smaller pieces. This is 1 larger piece. They have the same value, okay? They have the same value. So what that tells me is that the fraction 4/8 is the same as the fraction 1/2. They have the same value. They take up the same amount of space. It doesn't matter what shape you use. We can do it in circles, triangles, no matter what. If I have 4 out of 8 items, that is the same thing as having 1 out of 2 items. I won't get into the details of how we simplify that fraction. 3rd grade, we're going to keep it basic. They take up the same amount of space, okay? So, just in case I was standing in front of that, we notice they take up the same amount of space. So let's do another example. Let's go circular because most 3rd grade kids love pizza. So let's do something circular so that you can get another visual representation of this, okay? So, all right, now this circle's a little ugly and I want it to look better, okay? Now my circles aren't perfect. I wish I had a giant thing that I could do it with, and they're still not the same size, but we're not going to spend all day trying to make perfect circles. So that's a little better, I think. Here we go. You get the drift. All right, so if I take this one and I'm going to break it into 3 pieces. All right, so I have 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. I have 3 pieces. Now this one I'm going to break it into, let's go, let's go 6 pieces. All right, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now this, we're going to pretend that they're all the same size. So if I have 1/3, 1/3, this is 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, and 1/6. Okay. Now, so let's go ahead and take these 1/3 pieces, and I'm going to shade in one of those. So I have 1/3. Okay. Now I want to see how many pieces, how many 1/6 size pieces it's going to take to represent the same amount of value as 1/3, or 1/3, as I like to say. So it's going to take me right there. And because they're not drawn perfect, it looks a little different. But if I have 2 out of 6 pieces shaded in, it gives me the same value as 1 out of 3 pieces. So that tells me that the fractions 1/3 and 2/6 are equivalent, okay? They take up the same amount of space, okay? So that's another example of equivalent fractions. So the major takeaway with this lesson is that the fractions may look different, but they have the same amount of value. The denominator, or the total number of pieces in the fraction, may be different, but those fractions can still have the same value, and that will make them equivalent fractions. Young Guru's Math Tutoring, I've got the solution to your math problems.